Hello everybody and welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is finally here. It was released at midnight. It took about an hour or so to download it with a gigabyte internet connection. However, it is here. We're no longer doing a breakdown video. We're gonna fly it for the first time. We're in Polson, we're in Montana, and we're gonna go fly down the Flathead River today. That is the plan here in the Cessna 172 Skyhawk with the old steam gauges. Should be a lot of fun. I am running Track IR, and everything else is just a bone stock sim here on day one. We're gonna go fly down the river, talk about the sim, its pros and cons, and we'll get going. Well, this certainly is not a new sight picture for me. As you can see, we have our Cessna 172 Skyhawk completely cold and dark. We're gonna go ahead and fire it up. So I'm just gonna go hide that yoke visibility. We're gonna turn the master switch on. Beacon light comes on. That's good to go. And then we're going to prime the engine by turning the fuel pump on and all that. So we'll go mixture rich. And then I'm going to turn the fuel pump on. We'll go ahead and push in the throttle. Let it spike. There's our fuel flow. And pull it back. Turn off the fuel pump. We would set our friction there wherever we wanted it. Crack the throttle open. Make sure that the guy is pushed in, which it is. The fuel shutoff valve. If that thing is not in the right position, you can't start the engine. That would be bad, right? All right, so everything off on the key. So let's just go ahead and go to the right and listen to the sounds of this airplane fire up. This is the default Cessna 172. Keep that in mind. Oh yeah, there we go. We're gonna bring that power back to about 900 RPM to 1,000 or so, right in that band. That's wonderful. Turn those avionic master switches on. Let the avionics come to life, and wow, we are here. I'm getting really good frames. Performance on this was really good. I was part of the alpha. There's the late little beep there for the avionics. I was in the alpha for a long time and the beta, but we're still under NDA, so we can't talk about that. We're not going to compare and contrast. We're just going to talk about the sim as it is right here in front of our faces. And that will be today. So let's go ahead and let's get going. No more wasting time. We can open up our ATC window. I have it bound to a button on my joystick here. We'll listen to the automated weather. We are on 801.
801 automated weather observation 2100 Zulu. Wind 09 or 1 at 5. Visibility tree. Sky condition. Few clouds at 1,000 feet. Few clouds at 4,100 feet. Few clouds at 12,400 feet. Temperature 24C dew point, 10C altimeter 2993.
2993. All right, let's go ahead and set that to 2993. There we go. That's good to go. There we can go tune back to the traffic. We're not going to worry about the ATC calls today. We're just going to get in here and do our thing. Nav GPS, not worried about it. It's a nav mode. We could go to the GPS mode. If we had a flight plan in there, we could do it. But we don't have to worry about that. Our takeoff trim, we're going to set that here now to about right there. I like a little forward. Even when I flew the real airplane, I liked a little forward there. So that's good to go. Let's go ahead and release these brakes here like that. And we'll go in and we'll test our brakes on the way out. There we go. I have brakes. Wonderful. I'll go ahead and turn that guy back on. So, wow, it's finally here, folks. We get to fly in this together. If you're a GA fan, you know this is heaven, absolute heaven. And if you're into airliners and stuff, you know the fidelity of those airplanes in the sim are not quite there when it comes to an airline simulation. Now, it's pretty darn good, and we'll do flights with those airplanes before too long, but this is kind of, you know, get in the air, look at how pretty everything is, and talk a little bit more about the sim and what I think of it so far. So, you guys know me, I have been a massive X-Plane fan for a very long time. You know, I just got tired of flying FSX. It didn't feel satisfying, felt very on rails, didn't seem like, you know, it was something I wanted to continue. So I left it a long time ago and I went to X-Plane. And I love X-Plane, but man, is it outdated looking and it needs a lot of love and support. I know that they released the Vulcan release client today. 11.5 for X-Plane, but I did put it on a secondary drive. It's no longer my primary any longer. Winds are out of the east, so we're just going to take the crosswind, no problem. We'll go ahead and put our parking brake on here. There we go. We're going to bring it up to 1,800 RPM. Between 1,700 and 1,800, that'll work for us there. Look, I love how alive the airplane is. You see how this airplane's bobbing around? If I pull back on the yoke, you feel the nose come up, push down. You see it go down. The P factor is there. You can tell it's actually simulating the air coming around the entire fuselage and hitting that tail. Very, very neat stuff. So let's do a mag check here. Everything, instruments are all in the green. Things are looking good here. Let's go ahead and go to the right mag. There's our 50 drop we're looking for, back to both. There's the rise, back to left. There's our drop, back to both. So we're looking at our vac. Vac is in the green there, just barely. Amps are good, temps good, pressure's good on the oil. That's a big one. You don't want to take off when this stuff's in the, outside of the green arc there. That would be bad. So we'll go ahead and pull our power back to idle here. And then we're gonna go a landing and a strobe light is what we're gonna use there. It's during the day, so don't have to worry about navs. We'll turn them on now, just because. But whenever I used to fly at my school, we didn't do that during daylight operations. All right, so that's good to go. If you want to know how to turn the radio panel lights on and all that, it's all right here. You can turn it up. It looks really nice. I love the night lighting in this sim. It's beautiful. Keep in mind, guys, this is a default airplane. I'm gonna keep saying that, but it needs to be said. No flaps on this departure. Go ahead and release our parking brake there and power up. We'll take off on runway 36. We'll expect our crosswind from the right-hand side here, so we'll do some crosswind correction. A lot of airplanes. I did get the premium deluxe version. I pre-ordered it. I did not get this for free. I paid for it, so everything I say here, there's no biased feelings, anything like that. You're hearing exactly what I think. One thing I'm really liking is we've seen before in those pictures when we did the breakdowns is the trees were massive, and it looks like they've really fixed that. They are not nearly as tall or abundant as they had been in those videos that we saw. So we're lined up on 3.6. Something I'm going to talk about here that I really love is the attention to detail, how realistic this is. I've never had a sim make me feel like this sim does on a takeoff roll in a Cessna 172. In real life, when you punch that power, you can just feel the airplane nose lift off the ground a little bit, just slightly. Everything starts to rushing back to you as far as airspeed goes, airspeed alive. And the sense of speed here in the sim is really there. And you're gonna see, we're gonna rotate at 55 knots, but I want you to see the nose rise up, that sight picture we have of 3.6 right there, looking down that runway. And when you start increasing your airspeed, you're gonna have a lot more rudder authority. It's all there. And what an incredible experience. This makes me feel like I'm flying an actual Cessna. Okay, no, enough jibba jabba. Here's some sound for you as we've got our throttle set for takeoff. Using a little bit of right rudder. Not too much, but enough. And you can see right there, you just get that sight picture right there on your nose as airspeed is going to start increasing here. Airspeed is alive. Remember, we're going to be at a high density altitude airport here, so that's the reason why we're using so much runway. On back we go. And there we go. So let's get that nose up on the horizon. We want to climb out at 80 knots. There we go. And we're going to pull our mixture back a little bit here. Try to get a little bit more power out of this thing. There we go. Because that density altitude is going to kick our butt. You know, being almost 3,000 feet in the air in Montana. How beautiful is that? So now we're going to bring that nose down. We really want to get that 80 knots and be nice and careful here on our climb. A lot of student pilots get into trouble on their climb by not maintaining that speed, and you want to get your best climb. So we're going to go to the right here on our crosswind. I didn't have to use too much rudder and too much aileron inputs there on the takeoff roll. It was only 5 knots and it was kind of barely there, so wasn't worried about the wind. If it was more than that, we would have had our ailerons dumped into the wind there a little bit more. But I do like how the subtle winds don't seem to affect the airplane so highly. In X-Plane 11, the crosswind was very unrealistic, in my opinion. It felt like I was on ice battling the airplane. And I don't want to have to do that. I want the, you know, friction. Look at that water. Isn't that beautiful? That is gorgeous. We're using live weather, by the way. Live weather here. Absolutely beautiful. We can always hit this button and we can check our, we can use our en route time there. You got control here. You can go to the outside air temperature. 91 degrees. Even here at almost, we're going to be at 4,000 feet before too long. That's pretty impressive. All right, so now we're shooting for 90 knots on our climb. We can go ahead and kill our landing light. Don't need that on. Don't want to burn that bulb if we don't have to. And we're going to continue on out on our climb. So another thing I'm noticing with the flights that I've had is that these little labels that pop up and tell you about what this is, that is not something we can turn off. We really need an option to where we can turn that off. That's kind of annoying. I don't like it. And I do not like this toolbar at the top. Like, I like the toolbar, don't get me wrong, but I want an option to remove that from my experience because I have a lot of the stuff mapped to buttons and stuff. I want to be able to turn this off so I don't, every time, if you notice, if I put this mouse away and just let that go away up there, if I even move the mouse around a little bit, you see that pops up at the top. So it's kind of an eyesore. I would like to see them to change that up before too long. So climbing out of here, what a beautiful day. Absolutely gorgeous. The view system is interesting. I'm using track hour. We're just gonna, you know, do kind of like a POV flight. There we go. Look at this. We're starting to get that turbulence here at 4,500 feet. And that is due to all these mountains in this area. And I was waiting for us to kind of hit that before too long. And it looks like we are going to do that today. I'll come to the left. So yeah, tool tips, those need to be to where you can turn them off. You can't. In the outside view, if you go to the external here, by default, you have a HUD that's usually around here. And I have that turned off. We have track hour. Oh, there's an airplane above us. I don't know where he's at, but I can see his shadow there. You see it going across the river there. We have live traffic on and live players. It's an MMO. How amazing is that? So you can see here where you can look around the airplane here. We're climbing out of Polson. Gorgeous, gorgeous day for flying. You see the airplane just kind of bobbing along here. You zoom in on it and you see just how beautiful the rendering is in this sim. And in my opinion, the lighting is just true to life. That is absolutely beautiful. How about that? So a lot of people like to fly in the outside view with all the HUD gauges around it and everything. I don't do that, but if you want to, you can. I chose Polson. You might be like going, Jeff, why in the world did you fly in Polson? You know, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not a photogrammetry city. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. So we're seeing the actual satellite data being streamed in. We see the water masking here. Beautiful. You see the actual the shallow waters on the edge there. And that's why we're using this river. Flathead River looks absolutely beautiful later when we get down the road. But this is actual auto-gen here on the ground. That's not photogrammetry. That's not an actual 3D model of the real houses that are there. That's the Black Shark AI that's going, oh, okay, I know what you want. I'm going to try to do it. Now that is also, looks like baked in cloud shadows and clouds, not from above. I could be wrong about that, but I have noticed in some of these remote areas that is the case. And I wanted to show you a very remote area for that reason. Look how beautiful that river is down there. Let's go check it out. Go back to our cockpit camera here. And I'm happy with this. We're going to climb to about 6,000 feet here today and fly around. And the sim really starts to look beautiful, you know, when you're about 2,000 feet above the sea level. So, you know, in this case, 5,000 to 6,000 feet. That's when we look out the window and man, that is a believable experience. That looks gorgeous. However, this is a flight simulator. It's not a driving simulator, not a truck simulator. I'm not wanting anything crazy up close and personal. And there's a lot of scrutiny happening there. I've seen various videos of people talking about that, but it doesn't bother me because I use this as a flight sim. And if I'm on approach and something looks like real life to me, I think that that's a win, you know? Might have to, yeah, we're gonna lean this engine back a little bit more. There we go. Trying to get as much performance as we can out of this airplane. You can see it, the 172 lags a little bit there. And I have noticed that some of the airplane, the 172 does feel a little underpowered sometimes. But I've noticed if you you lean the engine out, it behaves pretty darn good. Let's talk about the autopilots. The autopilot system is in pretty decent shape right now. It's doable, and we're going to use it today. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. We'll go into a heading hold mode and all that. So let's get our heading bug where we want it. Let's roll off here at the south at 6,000 feet. That way we can trim the airplane before we use the autopilot. Too many sim pilots want to jump right in and use an autopilot system. And I can tell you this from real-world experience and from other pilots that'll tell you too. Autopilots are not perfect. They oscillate. They don't do the best job you would think that they would. And that's kind of simulated here. So I don't know if they try to get the nuances of certain autopilot systems, but I have noticed that some of those things are there. So here we are, south, 6,000 feet, looking great here. We can go to heading hold mode. Actually, we have to turn the autopilot system on first, but let's go ahead and go like this. Do the south heading. Oh, climbing here. We'll go autopilot and then heading. It's on roll in VS mode, so we're going to go heading mode now. There's heading. It's going to roll on to south, and we're going to get the altitude dialed in here. So let's get that altitude up to 6,000. As we're, there we go, 5, 6. Get the hundreds down to there. So 6,000 there. Hit altitude, and it's a 6,100. So we're going to go down by hitting vertical speed. So we're going to go down. Let me zoom in so we can actually see what we're doing here. So we need to do altitude hold off. We're in vertical speed mode, and we're going to go down a couple 100 feet per minute. If we can here, let's go dial it to 6. There we go. And go back to what we were doing, hit altitude again. So we're in this mode, down. That's another thing that happens is the airplane does get bumped around and turbulence and stuff, and it kind of messes you up. All right, it's aiming for the 6,000. It's not doing a great job. Let's go ahead and just turn the alt off completely. I'm gonna just manually bring the nose back down to 6,000, and then we'll continue from there. But you can see airplane's doing pretty good, holding this the south heading. We'll roll it around and mess around with it a little bit. There we go, almost to 6,000 here. Once we get to 6,000, just using my trim wheel here, we're gonna go ahead and get her to hold 6,000. So there we go, right there. Altitude should be decent here. There it goes. So now it should hold 6,000. Should. Yeah, it's doing a decent job there. We're getting rocked by the turbulence here in these mountains here on our right. But if we roll our heading bug around, like say we want to go heading 150, we can do that, and the airplane does a pretty darn good job of making that turn and holding it. Me personally, when I flew the 172, I didn't mess with the autopilot too much. For longer flights, yes, but short flights, no. Did not do it. Look how beautiful this is. And if you're new to the sim and you're new to everything, the entire world is modeled here 1-to-1 scale. There's no scaling down of anything. It's all 100%. You see, as I look around and I accidentally look around the cockpit, it lights those little labels up. I would love for those to be gone, or an option for those to be gone. I love the fact that when you're looking down at the panel, your eyes, it simulates your eyes how you see into the cockpit, and everything's blown out on the top. And when you look up, your eyes adjust to the outside world, and the panel gets darker. That is very, very cool. I love that they simulated. Yeah, that's very annoying, isn't it? That little mouse pointer gets in there. So that's the autopilot system. It does work. We could even, we'll use it when we go back to Polson here, but I just wanted to show you a little bit about this river, Flathead River, and we're going to fly a little low to it and see what low-level flying is all about. So we'll turn that autopilot system off. There's that lovely sound we know and love so much. I'm going to pull the power back a little bit here. About right there. I used to cruise around 22 to 2400, or yeah, 2200 or so, and then lean out from there. But let's get about 500 feet per minute to 1,000 here, and we're going to make our way down. We'll get some cinematic shots while we're doing that. How about that? All right, we're turning around here now, heading east, following this little creek that runs into the river here, right off our nose. And there's the Flathead River. We're going to follow that back to Polson. So just continuing about a 30-degree bank here. And one thing that when you're a VFR pilot, or you're going through your PPL and learning to fly airplanes, the sound in the sight picture is what you fly off of. You're not looking at the instruments so much during your VFR flights. You're looking out the window, using those references. A lot of fields are north, south, east, and west. And then apart from that, you're listening to the engine. If you hear the engine bogging down, you know you're in a climb. If you hear it speeding up, you know that it's descending. And little things like that are all present here in this sim. How beautiful is that? I'm gonna pull my power back a little bit more. We're doing some low-level flying here. Look at the beautiful masks there. And when I'm talking about masks, I'm talking about the ortho satellite imagery underneath the actual physical water, which is really neat. So going back to the MMO thing, this is an MMO, meaning that there's live players all around the globe, and they're all there if they're on the same server. I'm on the US server East. If you ever want to run into me on the sim, that's pretty much where I'm going to be located. So the server US East. Look at how beautiful this is, the trees and all that. But I want to show you a place that, is just out in the middle of nowhere, because when you fly into big metropolises that have photogrammetry, you're going to see the buildings look absolutely amazing and stunning and beautiful. Look at the color of the water here as we're flying low. There we go. We're just going to kind of fly through here, no problem. It's always fun when you're in a small little Cessna or something like this. You really get a sense of speed that you don't normally get when you're down low on a river like this. And this is no exception. We add that power here. And we want to maintain power. Keep an eye on our instruments. When you're flying low, you don't want to run into a problem there. So how beautiful is this? And the most amazing thing that your mind almost can't even comprehend is that, you have the entire world as your play box. So you can go anywhere you want in the world. And it's amazing to go places that I grew up in my childhood and to see all of it there. And it's there. The building's there, the house is there, the actual, the way the mountains look. I used to live in Montana, in Whitehall, Montana. And I went where my old childhood home was, and I could see the exact mountain range. And you can land anywhere you want. If we want to land on a sandbar or we want to land on the side there, we can. We can totally do it in this airplane. And there's a ton of airplanes. There's a little house up there. That's a cool little cabin. There's a ton of airplanes that you can use to do that with. That come with the sim. Like I said, I have the premium deluxe version of the sim, so I've got 30 airplanes to play with, and we're gonna fly them all over time. Now, those of you that aren't massive flight sim fans, I can tell you this: I am not going to be. Let's use a little bit of coordination here, shall we? Since we're flying 30-degree turns here over a little or more over the water. If you're not a fan of the flight sim, that's fine. I'm not going to be doing just flight sim content on my channel. We don't do that, you know that. So we're going to be doing all sorts of different content as usual. But X-Plane is getting shelved for now. It's going to be hard to come back to X-Plane after seeing just how amazing things are in this sim. And we'll do airliners and stuff when that comes on. So let's talk about third party. So there's already payware coming out for this. It was released on day one. And I gotta say, Asobo has done something here with their sim, and that is they have really, this is dangerous. I wouldn't be flying like this in real life, by the way. Wouldn't be banking this hard. Is that they really set a standard, a golden standard for quality. And it's going to be hard for some developers to to pass that bar. And we really got to hold them accountable for it. The third-party developers. If somebody wants to charge you $60 for an airplane, it better be damn good. Because we're going to have a lot more pilots, sim pilots, coming to this platform than anywhere else. How beautiful is this? We could land on that sandbar down there. We should try it. Let's see what we can do. A 172 is not necessarily a bush plane, but you'd be surprised what you can do with it. So let's pitch up our nose, pull our power back to about 1,500 RPM. There, we're well in the arc there. We're gonna put our first setting to flapping, let the nose come down, and we're gonna fly this in onto that sandbar is what we're gonna do. Pull our power back. All right, we'll go ahead and put that last notch of flaps in here. Gonna kill the power. A little bit more to the left here. We're gonna shoot for that 65 knots. Is what we're looking for there. Is remember power for altitude, pitch for that airspeed. Bring it nose down. There we go. We're gonna use the tree line here on the right. Hug it, and we're gonna land just to the right of that sandbar there. There's a big grass field there, so we're gonna pull our power for altitude and pitch for that airspeed. There we go. A little bit more power. Looking pretty good here. A little bit more to the right. And we can go ahead and kill the power here and round out and flare the airplane. Hold it about right there. Let the airplane stop flying. There we go. We're down. And the nose wheel down as well. Keep that. You actually want to keep the nose wheel up in the air a little bit here because we're soft field. And we'll do a short field takeoff and soft field takeoff here to get on out. But I just want to show you what it's like to just land on a sandbar and just chill. It's pretty awesome to do that. You just stop, you know. We're gonna go ahead and we'll set our parking brake here. Like that. So we turn our landing light off. Don't need that on any longer. And the strobe light can come off as well. And we'll just go ahead and kill the engine. That sounds just like a Cessna dying. That's so good. Avionics off. That's off. Master switch off. And just listen to the sounds of wildlife and all that. I'm gonna go to the outside view so you can listen to it. But there's just... You can hear the river right there running. You hear some wildlife. Let's go to the outside. I'll let you listen. All right, so let's go ahead and fire this bad boy up. Let's go ahead and go master switch on. Wait for that. We'll get the mixture rich here. Just, oh, it should be warm, so we shouldn't have to worry about priming the engine at all. Clear prop. And that fires right up. It'll land in a strobe. We gotta bring it back to about 1,000 right there. Wonderful. Avionics back on. We're good to go there. Release the parking brake. There we go. Wonderful. And we'll be using our flaps on out of here. A little bit more power than this. So, as you can see from the satellite imagery, the trees would be here in real life, but they're not in this particular case. We can use it as a big, huge gravel bar. But we would definitely have to work really, really close to the shoreline if that were the case. But I'm just showing you can just stop anywhere you want, land, and check it out. So this is going to be a fun departure. We're going to be using all of our skills on this takeoff. So it's going to be a curving left takeoff. We're doing a short field and a soft field landing, or takeoff. So go and bring up that power. About 1,800. We want to check our mags and everything, make sure it works. There's our drop. Back to both. Left side. Back to both. That all looks good. Green, green. Vax, okay, kinda. And a little bit more power there. Yep, we're good on all of that. So let's go ahead and do this thing. So let's go ahead and go full power. Hold the brakes. Bring our nose back. You want to be nice and soft on that. Release the brakes, and we're keeping the nose wheel off that ground as much as possible. And then we want to let the airplane fly whenever it wants to. Once it does, we're going to stay down in that ground effect and take off. So we're high density altitude here. It's going to be a little tough, but it's definitely doable in this airplane. Here's the airspeed coming alive here. Come on, baby. I know density altitude isn't helping us today, but there's 40 knots or so. Let the airplane come off the ground, bringing the nose down. Let her fly in that ground effect. There we go. We're currently turning to the left here. Letting that airspeed build naturally. Don't want to bring those flaps out just yet. We're using those to our advantage. There you go. Go 20-degree flap here. Get as much speed as we can. We're going to turn out to the right here. So there's 60 knots or so. Bring that nose up nice and easy. I'm going to use all of the surroundings we've got here. Watching that altitude, watching our airspeed here, you can get in big trouble here. Get nose down. Using all of our surroundings for this climb here. So it's definitely doable in this airplane. I keep forgetting we should have leaned that engine out for better performance on that takeoff. My bad. All right, so now she's climbed pretty good. Almost to 70 knots there. I'll bring up those flaps. And we're getting on out of here, no problem. That would have helped us a lot on the mixture if we would have done that. And there you go. That's just goes to show you can literally land anywhere you want to in this sim, take in the sights, the sounds, and it's fantastic. So let's head back to Polson. All right, so we're looking for 8 Sierra 1. We're going to go ahead and go direct. We're going to go to 8 Sierra 1 here, so we'll press the cursor in there. And we want to go to 8. There we go. And the next one will be Sierra, and then 1. There we go. Just like that. Polson, Montana. Hit enter. Activate it, please. Move down. There's the cursor. There we go. Activate. Enter. There we go. So now we've got a nice line drawn there. And we see we are 7.3 miles from the airport. So it's right off there on our right after the waterfall. We'll fly over that waterfall and we'll be right on our final approach for the runway we took off on. So circling back to everything that we were talking about before, you know, the thing about the third-party aircraft, we've really got to hold the developers accountable. You know, we don't want to sit here and get cheap ports from FSX and Prepared, you know, just because the demand's there for it. We want to be able to be like, you know we deserve good stuff. And, you know, with the larger crowd coming in of sim pilots, like I was talking about, and newcomers to the sim, and when this is hitting consoles, it's going to bring so many new people to aviation. We'll see prices in add-ons drop because there will be it won't be such a niche, you know. The community will grow. So we do need to hold these developers accountable, that's for certain. And I will be doing you know, views on that. I do know the Carenata 182T is out, and in its current condition, I'm not going to buy it. There's no way. It's a pretty looking airplane. The sounds are absolutely terrible, and it's using the default G1000 from Microsoft Flight Simulator. So there's a trade-off there because, you know, if you get that airplane, you're going to get the updates of the G1000 as, you know, Asobo works on the sim and makes it, you know, more or less what they want out of the G1000. You're going to see that in the Carenata airplane as well, but it's just not something that I want to pay money for right now. There's been other scenery developers out there, not naming any names, but there's some scenery developers out there that have been throwing stuff up there, and it looks like, you know, it's too fast. It's happening too quick. Let's step back and let's make proper products and make them look good, you know. The SDK is very new and young, so I know it can get better. There's the airport right there, got our runway in sight. I'm gonna go ahead and we're on a left base for it right now, just keeping best speed of the airport. And I love having track IR. That really does help. VR support will be coming out as a free update for this sim in the next couple months. So they're initially going to release it on the to work with the Reverb G2. I plan on actually upgrading to that headset. I've been wanting to jump from my Rift S to that. I don't make a whole lot of VR content here on the channel. It's not consumable. You guys don't really want to see that so much, as it looks great for me, but it doesn't look good for you. What an interesting approach this is. You come over the top of these mountains right here. And I know we're high on the approach, but that's because we're just clearing the mountain, you know? There we go. And look at that. We're getting the turbulence and the wind off of that thing. Okay, let's go ahead and kill our power here completely and pitch for our airspeed. Thing's coming in hot. And go ahead and put it into a forward slip. Get to use a slip for the first time here. That's going to help our descent rate and bleed off of that airspeed. There we go. We can put in 10 degree of flaps there and we can come out of the slip now. And go ahead and go to the next notch. There's 20. And we want to pitch for our final approach speed of 70 knots here. I do 65 if I'm going to land on the sandbar, but we got plenty of runway here. We're going to be doing 70. Aiming for a touchdown zone of those numbers there. Add a little bit of power. We got nose forward. There we go. We're a little rough on the wind here. There we go. It's smoothing out now. And nose up. Let the airplane slowly say, hey, I don't want to fly anymore. There we go. Using that right rudder. Maintaining our center line. Bring the nose wheel down just like that. And the airplane will tell you, hey, I don't want to fly anymore. And that's exactly what it did. One thing that's such a huge bummer, and I really hope they add it in an update soon enough, is a replay feature. We have no working replay feature as of release. So keep that in mind as well. Can't make those beautiful cinematic shots of landing and things like that, but we did get some good ones when we're in flight with the new drone camera. And the drone camera, I basically have my Xbox One controller plugged in, and I have it set up to use that. So you can get all sorts of cool drone shots and stuff. You'll see that in the very beginning of the video. I shot a bunch of B-roll for that. Make a right turn down here. How about that? Use all that runway. I don't care. We're going to bring up those flaps. Interesting, on that particular runway, we didn't have touchdown markers. And we'll come down here and we will clean up the airplane. We'll turn off the strobe and the landing light. Don't need those on. And turn that taxi light on if we want to for the ground crew. And the ground crew do actually work, by the way. And they will they'll marshal you into your spot, which is really cool. I do hope they allow us the ability to open up windows. That changes the sound and stuff, and also to open doors. I know you can do that with the Coronado 182T that came out. So it's definitely, the sim's capable of it. I hope we do see that happen in the sim later down the road. But as it stands, you cannot. So there's that. Yeah, I'm really happy to see the trees and vegetation looking really good here. I was, kind of worried that the trees were going to be a little bit of a problem and thought we would have to fix them with the SDK ourselves. That doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like they really nailed it at the end from all those videos of the breakdowns we were doing. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this beautiful flight here in Polson, Montana, and going through the Flathead River and showing you what the sim is capable of. Now, we can, fuel the airplane up and stuff at these little islands. Really neat, we can do that. Let's see if our marshaller is actually going to bring us into our spot there. I can see him over there. Let's see if that's what he wants to do. Let's go ahead and kill our taxi lights so we're not blinding him. Yep, he's got his little wands in the air. We can see him right there. We're going to go ahead and turn right in here on him. All right. At the end of this, I will show you all my graphics settings. I'll show you my my throttle sensitivities or all my sensitivities and all that stuff on everything. Right there. Beautiful. And that's the cutoff, the engine symbol. You got it, man. Park and brake is set. We're going to go ahead and kill the mixture. There you go. Unless he wasn't happy, he wanted me to move up a little further. That's fine, too. Avionics off. This goes all the way off. And listen to the sounds of those mags dropping. Man, how amazing is that? How beautiful is that? All right, let's check out some stuff in the main menu and all that, and I'll show you around. All right, this is the main menu of the flight sim. You can see we can go to world map, and we can choose wherever we want to go. We were in Polson, Montana. There it is. You're seeing the world in real time here. You can see the night is already over there in Europe, and here comes that line right now, about to hit the lower islands here. Like, yep, you've got St. Bart's and all that, just the sun going down there. You can see that hurricane off the coast of Mexico there. You can see the low pressure systems It's all modeled and simulated there. All of the little stars are all custom airports that Sobo did. And the other ones are just, major hubs like St. Louis is there and so on and so forth. And a lot of these areas with this will have photogrammetry, and you'll be able to see what that looks like. And we'll check that out before too long. So to make a flight, it's actually pretty easy. We have live traffic on as well, and you'll see little airplanes in the air like this, say like Delta 1561. You can create a flight plan from him, and he'll go, okay, this is where he's flying. He's flying from Detroit all the way to LA, and then you will have your entire flight plan done up for you like this. You can see up here it says VFR direct GPS. IFR, you would do like high or low altitude airways. You can actually grab his flight plan. I really love that. That is so cool. So that's the world map. You've got your current live events, which are landing challenges going on. Shows you the leaderboards of who is at the top. Wallace 362 there. Look at that, 1.9 mil points on the Courchevel one. So that's pretty neat. You can jump into that, and it gives you something new to do. They're going to be adding things like that. Same thing with activities. They're there to help you explore the world. There's, the world's huge, so there's tons to see here. You got landing challenges and bush trips as well. And then apart from that, you have your flight training module. And this is something we're going to go through together on a separate series, kind of a mini series of this, of the Fly With Me series that we've been doing for years. And that is going to try to help decipher things for you. If you're new to flying and new to the sim, and you've been doing the training modules here, which are really well done, I'm hoping that I can throw my 2 cents in on things to maybe help you out if you're having trouble. My biggest thing with this training module is that they fly you out of Sedona, which is great, but it's a high density altitude airport in a Cessna 152. So I don't agree with putting you in such a high altitude airport to learn. But it's, it will make you a better pilot. Once you can do mountain flying and high density altitude flying, you're pretty much golden. But this is something I do want to go through. Let me know what you think in the comments below about that. And then we have our profile here, how many hours we've flown. Mine 1 hour. It was way more with that with alpha and beta, I can tell you that. You have your hangar. You can go into your hangar and check out the different airplanes. Like I said, we've got a bunch, so we can go to change aircraft, and we'll go through the ones that come with the Premium Deluxe. So you can see, we got the Airbus A320neo, the Pitts Special S2S, the Boeing 747-8 Intercontinental, the 787 Dreamliner. There's the SR-22. Really excited to have that in the sim. The Cub Crafter X-Cub, the Dyer, the TVM 930, the Diamond DA40, the DA40NG. So that's the difference between the cockpits. Then you've got the 62, the DA62. You've got the DV20, the Extra 330 LT, Flight Design CTSL. There's the Icon A5 amphibious airplane, the only one in the packages that are available. The only amphibious airplane you'll get in the sim. The VL3. You've got the Virus SW121. Excited to try that airplane. I've never flown it. The Cap 10, DR400. What a classic. The Beach Baron G58. We'll definitely be flying that. The Bonanza G36. You got the King Air. The two 152s. You have the Aerobat, which is the aerobatic version of that airplane. We'll be doing that for our stalls and spins. Then we got the 172 Skyhawk and the G1000 package as well. I get better frame rates with this airplane than the G1000. Anything when you start adding the glass, it starts hurting your frame rate. Keep that in mind. The Grand Caravan, the Citation CJ4, the Citation Longitude. Looking forward to flying that thing. One of my favorite airplanes in this sim from doing alpha and beta is this guy right here, the Zlin Aviation Savage Cub. That thing, it feels like you're flying a tail dragger. And then the Zlin Aviation Shock Ultra. I have not flown that yet, so I don't know what to expect. How cool is that? But if we click on the longitude, it's going to load it in, and then we go back, it's going to load it in here on our hangar, and then we can look at the airplane. You can spin the camera around. You can go inside and look at all the cockpit stuff as well. It takes a while for these to load in, but once they do, they're there, and they look pretty. And it's on a view to play right now. You can click this guy. We can move this around all we would like, and we can look at the actual airplane. We'll look at the attention to detail on that thing. It's absolutely beautiful. Using my track IR to look around. I forgot I can do that. That is amazing looking right there. Then you have the interior view. You can check out what the interiors look like. How cool is that? Pretty darn neat. I love the ability to go into your hangar. That is really, really cool stuff. Content manager is where you're gonna be able to go in and manage your content that you have installed. You know, each individual airplane and stuff. That's all done through here. Your logbook is right here, which we just did our first flight there. There was the 172. I did do a little Cirrus SR-22 flight. Yep, that was it from yesterday. Whenever I got it installed, I wanted to make sure that it all worked with all my controls. So that's good to go there. Then we have the marketplace, and this is what I'm talking about. We have the Flight Beam Denver scenery. Orbix has been releasing their sceneries. And official content is here from Asobo themselves. So when that DLC comes out, you can click on that and go in to the official content and see what that has to offer. Sorry, not from Asobo themselves. Official content, meaning that it's not from a third party like, a freeware designer or something. So there's the Carinado one. You can see here's the prices. It lists them. It shows you what's available. The ones I'm excited for is Orca's Island. And a big thanks to Orbix for adding me as a friend of theirs to where I can get their sceneries and check them out. The Flight Beam Denver looks amazing. And the Innsbruck looks really good. So we have quite a few options here when it comes to what we can get. Yeah, see, they have Asobo stuff in here. And then this is the stuff that are, with their partners in quotation marks. You have a wish list, so you can throw things in a wish list. You have owned. You have bundles, promoted, material installed. It shows you all that. Third-party developers. You have options here from their name if you want to just check there. I really love the marketplace. It's really well done. It's what we've been wanting for a long time. Option-wise, general. I've got in here graphics. I'm using full screen 1440p. Global rendering quality set to custom. Advanced settings. VSync's off. So I don't have a frame limit. If you want a frame limiter, you can set it right there. Render scaling is at 100. Anti-aliasing to TAA. If I have anything underneath there, it starts looking worse and worse. Terrain level of detail 100. That's going to kill your frames for sure if you start messing with that stuff. Terrain vector data is on medium. Buildings medium. Trees. Buildings and trees, if you jump those up, you're going to get a frame rate hit on those. Grass and bushes as well. They're set to low. Objects level of detail 75. Volumetric cloud set to medium. Texture resolution set to medium. 16 times anisotropic filtering. Say that fast. Super sampling is 4x4. Synthesis is on low. Water waves medium. Shadow maps 1024. Terrain shadows, etc. This is just what I have by default. I have not gone through and messed with this stuff a whole lot. So there you go. A lot of options there. Lens corrections turned on and off right there. You can turn it on. That's probably why I wasn't getting my depth of field I wanted. Yeah, it was turned off. That's why. Okay, well, there you go. That's what we have for graphics. Camera options. This is what I'm talking about. If you want that HUD to be gone, the outside view, you can come down here and you can make sure the instrument heads-up display HUD is turned off, and that won't pop up for you there. Sound, you have a lot of options here. Music, I have that turned off right now. We all have heard that sound or the music so many times. You can go into communication selections and change the different ones here. There's a lot of options when it comes to active windows, spatial sound, text-to-speech settings. The Azure is doing really, really good. I really like it. Subtitles off. I don't like them. Music selection. It's on color 1. You can change the different ones. Legacy is the actual old, if I turn it up, the old FSX music. They brought it back just for that reason. Volume levels, wherever you want them. Traffic type, real-time online. I have my nameplates turned off. If you don't want those big, ugly nameplates over the top, you can get rid of them. Airport life. I turn my airport vehicle density down. I turned all this stuff down quite a bit because you get too many at smaller airports and it doesn't look very realistic and they get in your way. All that stuff is set to 50. Data, I have it all set to on. Unlimited bandwidth. Flight model, I have set to modern. You can go to a legacy one that is the old FSX flight model if you'd like. Miscellaneous settings there. Your pilot avatars, you can change those guys to who you want to be in the airplane. One thing that is kind of annoying, you can't get rid of your co-pilot or instructor inside of the airplane with you. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I want to just be me in the airplane, not always dual cockpit with everybody. Accessibility, You can change the interface scale. I love that. I have set it to 70. And that's what I like. You can change the colors as well. They have like different ones you can choose from. And then developers, this is how you go into developer mode. You turn that on, and once you are in it, you can go and download the SDK once that's on, you're in the sim. So that's something you can do as well. All right, we're gonna go ahead and apply and save some of those changes I made on the general assistance. I have everything set to custom. It's on the hardest levels. The only thing I turned off is the failure and damage. The crash damage is disabled because if you're trying to do a sandbar landing and you just barely touch the water, it will crash you, and that's terrible. So that's all good to go there. That's what I'm using for the assistance as far as that goes. Controls is what I'm talking about. So I am using, we got my controller for the Xbox controller there for my drone, but I've got my T-pendular rudders from Thrustmaster. There they are right there. If I go into sensitivities, you can see I have my sensitivity at -28, -50 on the Z, and dead zone set to 0. That's what I'm using there. To me, it felt as mushy as it should in real life. You can always, mess around with that and see what you get out of it. The HOTAS, I'm using that for my throttle. I do have it split, so in the power management, we have our mixture and our throttle as separate from those two guys. And then we've got our track IR set to default. The yoke from Virtual Fly is what I'm using. And in the sensitivity on this guy, this is what I'm using, -40% and dead zone of 0. And that seems to be pretty darn good, if you ask me. Well, that's a good overview of everything in the sim. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. We have a ton of stuff we can do. If you want me to fly near your hometown or something like that, you can always throw that in the comments below, and I could randomly pick ones from that as well. So the world is our oyster at this point. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys very soon. Take care.